fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming, fiending for money and alcohol. The life of a West Side player with character and a strong ball. Only in Cali will we riot, not rally to live and die. In LA we wear chucks, not valleys. Yeah, that's right. Dressed in locs and khaki suits and ride is what we do. Flossing but have caution, we collide with other crews famous because we programs. Worldwide, let them recognize from Long Beach to Rosecrans. Bumping and grinding like a slow jam. It's West Side, so you know the road will bow down to no man. Say what you say, but give me that bomb beat from Dre. Let me serenade the streets of LA. From Oakland to Sacktown, the Bay Area and back down. Cali is where they put they mag down. Give me love. That's right. In the city of Compton, we keep it rockin'. Yeah, let's make it shake. Come on, shake it, baby, shake it, shake it, mama, shake it, Cali, shake it, Cali, shake it, baby, shake it, Cali, shake it, West Coast. Long Beach in the house, yeah. Oaktown, Oakland definitely in the house. Frisco, yeah. Frisco. Hey, you know LA up in this. Pasadena, where you at? Yeah, Inglewood always up to no good. Even Hollywood trying to get a piece, baby. Sacramento, where you at? Yeah. Throw it up, y'all. Throw it up. I can't see ya.
All right, California Democrats. California love. I think almost every city in California got a shout out in that song. Thank you all for being here on the fourth and final night of a once in a lifetime, the most unusual convention, national convention that I think many of us have been a part of, and it's been an outstanding week. We have a great lineup this evening, but first, I really just want to take a moment to thank our California firefighters that are on the front lines at this very moment, fighting more than 300 fires all across California. We had one firefighter brother who lost his life here in Los Angeles County over the last 24 hours. We're keeping his family in our thoughts and our prayers, and certainly our well wishes and good vibes and goodness are being sent to California firefighters across the state. I really want to take this opportunity also to thank our delegation co-chairs, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Congressman Ro Khanna, and Supervisor Hilda Solis for your leadership of this delegation. And I want to thank you, one of the largest and most diverse delegations in the country. Thank you all, delegation. I want to thank our party officers, Alex Rooker, Duraka Lermo Hall, Jenny Bach, and Dan Weitzman for your leadership in this week. And especially, I really want to take a moment to thank our staff, including those that have handled our closed captioning, our ASL interpreters, who have done a phenomenal job under unusual circumstances, bringing us all together, creating an opportunity for us to be together when we can't physically be together. You know, our convention has really been about telling the story, providing a better vision for America. We started off on Monday night with We the People, the impact of pandemic times 3, a pandemic of racial inequality, of economic catastrophe, and then obviously a global health crisis that we're all living through. And I'm reminded of the words of Michelle Obama, which I think encapsulated what this moment is really about. She said, speaking of Trump, he has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he's clearly in over his head. He simply cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is. And I think that really sums up our work that we have to do, the change that we have to make in this country over the next 75 days. On Tuesday, we talked about leadership that matters, the dignity, the empathy of Joe Biden through the voice of Dr. Jill Biden, our next First Lady. Last night, we saw the first woman of color and a California Democrat, Kamala Harris, our very own senator, step forward and accept the nomination as our next vice president. And tonight, we're going to talk about America's promise that is frankly unfulfilled for far too many Californians, far too many Americans. And we have a long way to go. But I think the formal nomination of Joe Biden as our party's nominee is an important step forward in calling upon us to get to work. So let's get right to our outstanding speakers. You know, this party has no shortage of a deep bench of remarkable rising stars and so much talent. Some who have been doing this work for year in and year out. We've got the opportunity to hear from them tonight. The first is Assemblymember Evan Lowe. Now, he's been doing this for a little bit. He looks like he's, 21 or 22. But in 2014, at the only young age of 31, he was elected as the youngest API legislator in California's history. But being the first is not really new to him. In 2010, at the young age of 26, he was the youngest openly gay mayor in the nation, a leader in the tech industry, and a leader in voting rights, especially the proposition that this party has supported, Proposition 18. Give it up for Assemblymember Evan Lowe. Evan?
Thank you very much, Rusty. Hello, Democrats. It's amazing to see all of you. Thank you so very much for joining us. I want to, of course, echo the comments made by our chair, Rusty Hicks, in recognizing the hard work of our first responders. While we are here to maintain the integrity of our democracy and working hard for that, there are those on the front lines maintaining the sanctity of life. And to those firefighters and frontline responders, thank you for what you do. As Rusty mentioned, I am Assemblymember Evan Lowe from Silicon Valley. And when I first ran for office at 21 years old, it was very difficult to engage in our democracy, in which people said, well, I have shirts and ties that are older than you. But as you can see today, from the message of President Obama talking specifically to Gen Z, and seeing the talent that we have in our individuals, of fellow Democrats, like our party secretary, Jenny Bach, or our phenomenal leaders, our mayors, whether it be Mayor Breed, Mayor Robert Garcia, Mayor Tubbs in Stockton, or our future upcoming mayor, Todd Gloria in San Diego. You can see that we have a tapestry of talent that we want to tap into. So when we think about that of engagement, we in California have had a long history of expanding access to the ballot box, encouraging and increasing voter participation, whereas in other states, increasing barriers to access. That's why we have automated registration at 16 at the DMV, prepaid postage stamps on our ballots. And now, Democrats, we have a wonderful opportunity and Proposition 18 to allow for 17-year-olds to vote in primaries if they are 18 by the general election. California Democrats, we're actually behind the game. Did you know that close of half of the states in the nation already has this as law? That's right. Close to half of the states in our nation already allow 17-year-olds to vote in primary elections if they are 18 by the general election. So we have a wonderful opportunity to instill a lifelong sense of voting and civic engagement in our classroom before they transition. So let us encourage this participation as much as possible. I would also like to thank Speaker Pelosi, who has publicly spoken support. She has made countless efforts to encourage participation for young people and encouraging that engagement, because we know that science and climate change is real. The fact that we want to ensure that we have safe classrooms and places of gathering against firearms, recognizing the importance of Black Lives Matter, and also that of holding our public representatives accountable. So Democrats, I hope you'll continually join us all in this effort to encourage as much participation as possible so that we too can turn the keys eventually to our wonderful, capable Gen Z. Now, we can't stop here. Let's be sure to tweet, post on social media with the hashtag CADEM2020. Tell friends and participate in this process. Similarly, it's easy to also support candidates, but also the party. So if you can, easily engage with the party. They will provide you with a personalized link to engage and support party efforts. So again, Democrats, let's continue out this engaged effort. I'm excited to be here and join you in this wonderful election. Have a wonderful night.
All right. Well, thank you, Assembly Member, for your leadership on so many important issues and ensuring that the voices of young leaders are an important and upfront part of our party, a critical part of our party. Now, I want to. We have all come together in the virtual space in a first ever, as you heard it before, unconventional convention. And the man who has brought us together in this convention is our chair, Tom Perez. He's led the party for the past 3+ years. And obviously, I can tell you from firsthand experience, moving a party forward can be a little bit challenging now and again. But I know that our chair has the experience to do it. Son of immigrants, civil rights litigator and leader, and obviously a outstanding Secretary of Labor in the Obama administration. Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for your leadership. I know you do this job for the pay and the glory, so we're grateful to have you here with us this evening. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you, Rusty, Mr. Chairman, I should say, and Alex Rooker, thank you so much. I had to learn how to tie a tie again because it's been so long. I have to leave shortly because I'm actually hosting the first 15 minutes of the program, the warm-up band for Julie Louise-Dreyfus and our show tonight. It's going to be an awesome show. I want to thank you, Rusty, and thank everyone in the delegation. I look at Nancy Pelosi, Speaker Pelosi, the most impactful speaker in American history. And the key to her success was all the work you did in the 2018 cycle to help us get over the top. And I know in 2020, we're going to continue that work. And when I've talked to some of these first termers like Katie Porter and others, it's amazing. They feel like they've been around for a long time because they're seasoned pros doing so much. And I know that there are opportunities for more pickups, including San Diego and Central California. I also would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my good friend, Alex Padilla. Alex and I talk weekly and usually multiple times a week because we know what's happening to voting in this country. Donald Trump can't win on the merits, and so they want to cheat. They want to suppress the vote. California has really laid down a model for how we ensure that every eligible person can vote and that those votes are counted. That's the way to do it. And you really have set the tone. And Alex, thank you so much for your help. I've also worked very closely with your Attorney General, both when he was here in Congress and now as Attorney General. Javier is both a mentor, a leader, a friend. You have such a deep bench of diverse talent in California, and it really is remarkable. And we got to show off our deep bench of talent over the course of the last 3 days. This has been a very unconventional convention, and it's been an inspiring convention. We knew a while back that we had this pandemic, And this pandemic, we were hoping would abate sufficiently to allow everybody to come here. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And because of the president's failures, we had to make changes. But you know what? Leadership is about understanding that you get curveballs thrown at you. And our curveballs are, in the grand scheme of things, much less serious than the curveballs that families are confronting who've lost their jobs, lost their loved ones, are wondering how they're going to feed their family tomorrow, how they're going to get their kids to school. You got a president telling people that kids can't spread the coronavirus. That's a lie. We all know that. So we have a lot of work to do. In this convention this week, our goal has been to unite America, to make sure that everybody in America, no matter what your party affiliation, understands that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris welcome you. Our values, our progressive vision, our progressive platform is something I'm really, really proud of. The unity of our party is our greatest strength, and I think it's Donald Trump's worst nightmare. I want to thank all of you who've been involved in all of our reform processes. I remember 2017. We had a lot of work to do. We were a house divided, and we've come such a long way. We had almost 24 people running for president, unprecedented, and every single one of them has come together behind Joe Biden. I was so proud of all of our former candidates who spoke. I spoke to Senator Sanders yesterday to thank him while narrow-fiddled. I love that line that he had. And I loved what he said. We are so together right now as a party, and it is so important. We got 74 days till the weekend, folks. 74 days till the most important election of our lifetime. And the road to success in the House especially goes through California. We're going to make history with Kamala. I know we can do it, but I know we can't do it alone. So thank you for all of your support. I'm sorry you can't be here in Milwaukee. It's 72 degrees and 20% humidity and sunny. It's been a good week here. And it's going to be a great day in America on November 3rd when we win. So Rusty, thanks for your partnership, and keep up the great work. Thank you for all you're doing. We're going to have a spectacular night tonight with Joe Biden and his vision for America. Take care.
Okay, come on. Hello, Democrats.
Hello, Democrats.
I'm Sasha Bittner.
I'm Sasha Bittner,
I'm San Francisco Disability
a San Francisco disability
and domestic workers' rights activist.
and domestic workers' rights
And
activist.
proud Biden delegate.
And proud Biden delegate.
My brother, Caleb Pilidakis,
My brother, Caleb Pilidakis,
will interpret.
will interpret.
It is my great honor
It is my great honor
to introduce our esteemed mayor,
to introduce our esteemed mayor,
London Breed.
London Breed. Mayor Breed is a native San Franciscan who was raised by her grandmother and grew up in public housing, facing the overwhelming obstacles that entailed. But she emerged triumphant, eventually becoming the first African-American woman and only the second woman in San Francisco history to be elected as mayor. We are so proud of the exemplary leadership she has demonstrated on the national stage in forging such an effective municipal response to COVID-19. My family includes members considered more vulnerable to complications from the virus, and after watching the tragedy unfold in Italy, we were so grateful for Mayor Breed's strong, early leadership in following expert, science-driven recommendations and making the tough choices that helped to prevent a similar situation in San Francisco. Mayor Breed is also proving to be a national role model for other mayors with her recently announced plan to fundamentally change the nature of policing in San Francisco with a new set of policies to address structural inequities.
Please give it up
Please give it up
for my mayor,
for my mayor,
London Breed.
London Breed.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Thank you very much for that introduction. Good evening, Democrats. I am so excited to be with all of you because after this week's Democratic National Convention, I am excited, I am ready to win, and I feel and see the change we all know we need to happen. The last 4 years have been hard. In fact, they've been a nightmare for many of us. And these last few months have been even harder. But I'm here to tell you, we can meet our challenges and make things better. As someone who grew up in public housing, surrounded by poverty and violence, I know what it means to face challenges. As someone who watched family members struggle with addiction, who watched friends and neighbors thrown in jail, I know what it means to be faced down by hopelessness. And as someone who sadly lost friends and family to gun violence, and then grew up to watch their kids get shot and killed in our community, I know what it means to feel like the madness will never end. But despite these challenges I've had throughout my life, I also know what it means to have hope and to rise up. I rose from the concrete of public housing to the marble walls of City Hall to become mayor, which I never thought was ever possible for someone like me under those circumstances. And my fellow Democrats, now is the time for us to rise up. This president has long since stopped pretending he cares about us. He doesn't care about Black people or gay people or women or immigrants or even children or the seniors and veterans who rely on the medication they receive through the mail. He doesn't care. All he cares about is maintaining his grip on power, even if it kills us. His mismanagement of this pandemic has decimated this nation. His unwillingness to take it seriously, his mixed messages, his denial of science, his conspiracy theories, and above all, his determination to divide us at a time when our survival depends on Americans coming together as one people to beat back this virus. It has led us to the brink of destruction. It didn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. Real leadership would have made the hard choices and launched into action, not perpetrated a world of delusion and denial. Real leadership would have put the people of this nation first. Well, this November, folks, we can bring real leadership back to the White House. Last night, the nation was reintroduced to my friend, Senator Kamala Harris, and she laid out exactly what we need to do. Fight with conviction, with hope, and with confidence. Fight for this country that we all love. And tonight, we will hear from our candidate, Joe Biden, who has the moral compass, the compassion, and yes, the ability to put people first. We can end the nightmare of the last 4 years. We have to end it, Democrats. Let's renew the dream of a nation where a little Black girl growing up in public housing isn't judged by the color of her skin or by her circumstances, but by the content of her character. A nation where immigrants are afforded human dignity and their rightful place in the fabric of our society, where women's rights are protected and the LGBT rights are expanded, not attacked, and where once and for all, Black lives actually do matter, because all lives won't matter until Black lives matter. That's the nation we can build. Democrats, let's rise up and let's do this together. Let's win in November. Thank you all so much.
Greetings, California Democrats. What an incredible week it has been. My name is Rex Richardson. I'm a proud DNC delegate and city council member in the great city of Long Beach, California. We're home to 500,000 residents. It's the 7th largest city in the state of California. Our city's comparable in size to Atlanta, Georgia. We're a proud and diverse city that values working families, our environment, and our commitment to racial equity. And we're also proud of our mayor, DNC keynote speaker Robert Garcia. In 2014, at age 36, he became the youngest, the first openly gay, and the first person of color to serve as mayor in the city of Long Beach. And he's one of the youngest mayors in big cities in America. Mayor Garcia immigrated from Peru with his mom at age 5, later receiving a doctorate in education, and has been a staunch champion for education. He was sworn into office by vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris as mayor, and since then has helped to usher in a new generation of Democratic leadership. And without further ado, it's my honor to introduce my friend, Dr. Robert Garcia.
Hey, everybody. How are we doing, California Democrats? It's great to see everybody here. Obviously, this is a very different kind of convention, but I just want to thank all the delegates that are watching, that are making their voices heard. It's an incredibly important part of the democratic process. I also just want to give a shout out to the entire staff at the California Democratic Party. You've all been working very hard, to our chair, Rusty Hicks, and all the delegates and the team. Just thank you for all the work you're doing this November to ensure that we're winning, not just up and down in California, but it's our job to ensure that we are electing progressives and Democrats in Arizona and Nevada and the states that are battlegrounds and adjacent to us as well. I want to just say a couple of things. One is to Mayor London Breed, who just spoke. Thank you for your leadership in San Francisco and the Bay Area. COVID-19 is a serious threat, and there is no national strategy right now to battle COVID-19. This is something that has affected us. It's affected my family personally. And what I'm excited about with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is a strategy where we can actually take on COVID-19 with science and facts and truth. Like you, last night, I beamed with pride to know that our home state senator, Kamala Harris, was nominated as the next vice president of the United States, a woman of color, of mixed heritage, with a history as parents, as immigrants. We are just proud of that. And we're proud of her and her work ahead. I want to just note a couple of things that I think are important for us as California Democrats and as moving forward. And two areas that I think that are important. The first is, what can we expect coming out of a win for us in January? We know we're going to get a lot of policy out of Congress. We're going to get strong reforms on LGBTQ plus rights. We're going to get the Equality Act hopefully passed. We have two candidates that have been forward thinking on issues around gay marriage, around trans rights, around healthcare. And so we want to make sure that trans people are fully covered and supported in the next administration. And the same goes for immigration. We expect and demand that immigration reform and a pathway to citizenship for every single undocumented person in this country is achieved early in the administration. And then we have an opportunity, I think, to push and to work with the administration to be innovative and try new things that we're experimenting here in California. We've got ideas, as a lot of the delegates have brought forward into cities across the state. We've got to take on innovative ideas. Issues like public banking. We should have public banking in every state up and down the country. We're trying it here in California, and we can do more. Universal basic income. We know that it works. We're piloting that here in Long Beach, off the lead that Mayor Tubbs is doing in Stockton and other places. And we can try that unique approach across the country and here in the state as well. So we have a lot of work to do, not just to take on the agenda that Vice President Biden that Vice President Biden is going to implement when he becomes president. We also have a responsibility to push on new issues and innovative issues that we are developing and that we're pushing on here in our home state of California. So I like you, I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm proud of all of our delegates and the diversity of our delegates, our Bernie delegates, our Biden delegates. Thank you for being part of this process. And I look forward tonight when Joe Biden makes his speech and we get rid of Donald Trump come this November. So thank you very much. Go Democrats.
Hello, California. I am so excited that I have the opportunity to start this week as a communications director for the California Democratic Party. My name is Sherry Yang Wanacott, and I'm from the Central Valley. I have the privilege of introducing one of my favorite 90s TV star from the show 90210. She played Andrea, who was the editor of her school paper, The Blaze. So it's no surprise that the woman best known for playing the intelligent and quick-witted journalist on TV would also be a strong Democratic supporter. Furthermore, this trailblazing woman is also the president of SAG-AFTRA, which represents approximately 160,000 professionals in the media world. She's a lifelong activist, serves as a vice president on the executive council of the AFL-CIO, and is a delegate to the executive committee of the International Federation of Actors. Super happy to introduce to everyone, Gabrielle Carteris.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Good evening and hello, fellow Democrats. First, I just want to start with saying that my prayers are with all of those on the front line fighting the fires that are devastating our state. We are all there with you. I also want to say you are great speakers, everybody. I am so inspired by you today and our delegates. This is a true moment of celebration. Look, I know that we have a lot of work ahead of us. With that, it's important that we just take a moment to acknowledge that we have one of the most powerful, exciting, and progressive teams our country has ever seen leading our ticket. And I am so proud to stand with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the game-changing moment in history. Yes, I am the president of Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, known as SAG-AFTRA, but I'm not here in that capacity tonight. In this moment, I am speaking to you as Gabrielle Carteris. I'm speaking to you as an American, a patriot, a working woman, a proud union member, and the mother of two beautiful daughters who are just beginning to explore their lives. And the story I want them to live is the story that we are writing tonight. Biden-Harris is the story of our future. It's a story of empowerment, leadership, and true service to fellow Americans. It's a true story of strength and leadership. And yes, it is also a story of our hope for the future. It's hope in Joe Biden. You've heard it said, Joe is a man who listens, understands, and connects with real people and their concerns. Hope in Kamala Harris, an advocate, an activist, and a dedicated public servant. Together, these two people will help mend the deep and painful wounds that the present administration has inflicted on this country. I proudly belong to a labor union whose members who have been directly and painfully hit by the skyrocketing cost of healthcare and pharma in this country. If living through this terrible pandemic has taught us anything, it is that our healthcare system is broken. In a Biden-Harris administration, we will address out-of-control healthcare and prescription drug costs. We will work to protect the ACA and ensure access to quality, affordable healthcare. I am here tonight to proudly share my voice and to join all of you in working to ensure a stronger and better America, not just for ourselves, but for our children. We as a nation need worker justice. We as a nation, we need equity, dignity, and respect for all people. And more than anything, we need a return to kindness and caring for the millions of everyday people who represent the vibrant, beating heart of America. With Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, we will again be the America we love so deeply. Even with our foibles, we will be a beacon of democracy, honesty, character, light, and hope for America and for the world. Kamala said the other night, we will act boldly and we will deal with our challenges honestly. Yes, we will. Together, when we vote. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to my sister, Gabrielle, for your leadership and ensuring that we continue to keep voices strong all across the country, especially from our entertainment industry. This evening, we were scheduled to be greeted by Governor Gavin Newsom, but obviously after 2 weeks of unprecedented weather and wildfires now all across our state, the governor is appropriately focusing on how best to respond to and coordinate a response to keep all Californians safe. So we continue to keep in close communication with him in his office, but obviously he will not be joining us this evening. But last but certainly not least, to round out a week of outstanding programming, we have the opportunity, I have the honor and privilege of introducing a woman that needs no introduction, Speaker Nancy Pelosi. For more than 30 years, Speaker Pelosi has been delivering for San Francisco, been delivering for California, and delivering for our nation. I'm proud to say I'm following in her high heels in many ways as a former party chair of the California Democratic Party. And obviously we know her as the first and second female Speaker of the House. It's often been said that, Trump is always talking about his wall, one that has never been built and will never be built as long as we have anything to do with it. But I think if there is any wall, it's been House Democrats led by Speaker Nancy Pelosi that have ensured that we protect all we can from an administration hell-bent on destroying our vision for America. And so we're so grateful for your support for our party and for our nation and your leadership in the House. So everybody join me in welcoming Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Speaker, can you, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you hold on just one moment? I think we're having some issues with your sound. I think you're muted at this particular moment. Do you want to try it now? Oh, we still don't have any sound at the moment. Can our
Yes.
Can we just
Hello. I'm Kat. I'm the
team will take
stage
care of it.
manager for this event. I'm so sorry. Speaker Pelosi, I believe the sound issue is coming from your microphone. You're currently unmuted on Zoom. I'm not sure what the system is that you're using to go through. But if that can be reset, that should solve the issue. We still don't hear you, Speaker. I'm so sorry.
If everyone can certainly just be patient with us for a moment while we sort this out. This is the true unconventional convention. So it it does happen.
Can you say something, Speaker? Rusty, why don't you just tell us about the great? We're okay now?
We've got you right now. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say to Rusty, thank you, because California, it all started in California. And when we won the House the first time, it was because of the advocacy and the political organizing in California. That's what we won in 2006. And when we won in 2018, California led the way again, electing 7 Democrats to the Congress of the United States. We have 46 Democrats out of 53 in California, and we want to re-elect. We need to win all of those seats again. We need to elect T.J. Cox, Josh Harder, Katie Porter, Harley Ruda, Mike Levin, Gil Cisneros, Christy Smith in the seat that used to be held by Katie Hill. So thank you all very much for the work that you did to help elect all of those people. Our time is diminished now because we lost some time with the sound, but let's say how proud we are of Joe Biden selecting Kamala Harris, our own Kamala Harris. And her story last night was so moving, not only because she's a Californian, but she told the story, the immigrant story, the American dream story for our country. You know how to win. We know how to win in California. We wouldn't have a Democratic majority in 2006, 7, 8 like that without California. We wouldn't have a Democratic majority without the work of California now. So I thank you for all of that. And as you have your enthusiasm for the presidential, California will be blue. We need to have our state legislature, the assembly, the state senate to have strong majorities and win the congressional races, some of which are more difficult than others, all of them needing your help. Let me just thank Mayor Garcia for his support of the HEROES Act that does all the things that he was talking about that we need. Let me wish my sympathy to him for the loss of his mother, his story so compelling. Let me identify with those, Gabrielle and others, who have praised our first responders, our firefighters who are protecting our state. All of this is about the HEROES Act. The heroes are our healthcare providers, our first responders, our teachers, our sanitation workers, our transportation workers, our food suppliers, all the people who meet the needs of the American people. So when the Republicans say, let the states go bankrupt, or we don't see why we have to help any blue states, understand that our blue states are there to help America whenever the need arises. I'm so proud of London Breed, our mayor in San Francisco. But again, as was mentioned earlier by Evan Lowe, all of the mayors have done a wonderful job. And all of them, Democratic and Republican, county executives, Democratic and Republican governors, and all the rest, support the HEROES Act to support our heroes, to end the virus. That's the only way we're going to open up our schools and our economy, and to put money into the pockets of the American people. And as we do so, we also need to support our electoral system, our postal system, as well as OSHA. So, following Gabrielle and being introduced by you, our friends in labor, I'm going to say we don't agonize over what they're doing. We organize and we unionize, because that is the way we support America's working families. And I will say this, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the platform that they put together and the involvement of the other presidential candidates, wasn't Bernie just fabulous the other night, and wasn't President Obama. Everybody was just great. So again, we have a virtual convention, but we have an actual commitment to the future. So on behalf of all the House Democrats, thank you for making the Democrats a majority. It all begins in California, intellectually, politically, and with the numbers. So thank you, Rusty Hicks, for your chairmanship. Chairman Perez recognizes the need for California, because we're blue. We'll be there for the presidential, but we have to be there for the other races as well. Sasha, one of my best friends, she's at Democratic headquarters all the time. So it couldn't be better to be introducing our mayor than have Sasha and Caleb interpreting for her. So again, thank you for what you have done, what you are doing, and what you will do. I think it's really important for people to know that this election, we are blessed by Alex Padilla and Governor Newsom and what they've done, and the state legislature has done for vote by mail. The president is trying to undermine that. We think the postal system is election central in this election central. That's why they're trying to undermine it. That's why I'm so glad our members will be coming back to Washington this weekend to vote to protect the postal system. It's a health issue. It's a democratic issue. It's a patriotic issue to do so. So I'm honored to be always part of the California delegation in whatever manifestation, whether it's a national convention or on your regular basis. And as a family matter, I want to say of my daughter, Christine, who chairs the Women's Caucus, again, I make my commitment to match the funds that the other members of Congress contribute to the federal account of the California Democratic Party, so that you're full strength ahead. And that is a tribute to you, Rusty, for your leadership. We don't agonize, we organize, and we unionize. Thank you so much. Onward to a great Democratic victory beginning in California.
Madam Speaker, I think you're taking me back to my labor roots of we don't agonize, we organize, and we also organize one by one by one, and that's the work that we've been building here in the California Democratic Party. I'm certainly grateful for your commitment and your support to this party and your leadership for our nation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We're certainly grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, California Democrats, we are, that concludes our programming and all of our great, outstanding speakers that have inspired us, lifted us up for all the work that we have ahead. Directly after this, there'll be a delegate mixer where you have the opportunity to interact and engage with the rest of the delegation. There'll be a DJ that'll be a part of that. So it'll be fun, a pre-party before we hear from our nominee. You know, after tonight, we are in the place of having completed our planning, our preparing, our plotting, and it's time to get to work. And so first, I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but I do think you need to make a plan to vote. Yes, even the most experienced amongst us have to ensure that we make our own plan to vote, and that we tell our family, our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers. Don't let a single person go by without telling them that they need to make a plan to vote. And then obviously engage with someone else, whether it's by phone, text, postcard, write them a letter. You can do that through the coordinated campaign, both here in California and in other parts of the country. Speaker Pelosi talked about California being solidly blue. Obviously, we've got a lot of important races here in California. But we have an obligation to the rest of the country to be an example of what it means to be a solid blue, but also to export the power of nearly 10 million Democrats into battleground districts and swing states across the country. And I know we're going to do that. I know we're going to do our part. In the chat, you'll have all of the information to engage with the coordinated campaign. So Democrats, let's take back our country. Let's take back our democracy. Let's get to work. Thank you so much.